welcome to Activation Nation podcast. We are thrilled to have you here with us today. I am absolutely excited to just introduce the guests that we have today and for you to be able to hear from each of them. We have one returning guest that I know you will all be excited to hear from, and one new guest that I really think that you're going to be thrilled to hear from and benefit so much from all of the knowledge that comes from both of these wonderful ladies. So I'm not going to take up any more time because we want to leave all of the time to them. And but we have here with us today Lisa Barnes, as you all know, VP of R&D and Regulatory. And we have Dr. Christina Beer joining us today. Welcome, Christina. She is our Director of Research here at LifeVantage. So I'm thrilled to have them with us, like I said before. And I'm going to turn the time over to them so that they can really dive into some sciencey stuff today.
Thank you so much, Mindy. And we're excited to be here today to really get to talk about a subject that we're incredibly passionate about and something that's really timely with what's going on in health research and with our latest product launch and acquisition. And so today our focus is to discuss what is the gut? Let's understand it. What's the gut microbiome? What are these things? Why are they so important? How does it get out of balance? What does it look like when it's out of balance? What are you feeling? And what can be done to bring back into balance? Because we have some wonderful activating solutions for that. And so Dr. Christina Beer, I want to make a little note, push for her because her Director of Research title is new. So if you happen to know her, you should give her a little bit of a shout out because it's a new role for her that's very well deserved. But she is going to be our expert today, and I'm going to be asking her some questions, and you're going to get a ton of really good information today. So I hope that you are ready to scribble down some notes. So Christina, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. This is a new setting for me, so I'm excited, actually.
Yes, it's a little easier than doing videos. Yes. You don't get puppies like you did for Pet Tandem, but you get me,
those puppies.
So it's okay. But what I wanted to ask you first, let's start right at the beginning. What is the gut? Pretend I know nothing.
That's actually a really good question that I don't think many people really know, or at least they think they know what the gut is. So to answer this question, the gut actually refers to your entire digestive system, from the time you put food into your mouth to the time when you have to go to the bathroom.
We call that the in to the out.
Yes. So it breaks down your food, you absorb the nutrients, and then you eliminate the waste.
And I feel like a lot of people think that's where it stops, right? You think digestive system, you usually think stomach, maybe intestines, and you think that's it, but I'm assuming there's more.
Absolutely. So beyond digestion, your gut is a major hub for your immune system, hormone production, and it even influences your mood. Think about that one. But it's so much more than just your stomach and intestines. It also involves many, many other organs that start with, believe it or not, your mouth. Your mouth is where, during your chewing, you break down your food into smaller pieces. Your saliva begins the chemical breakdown of carbohydrates using the enzyme like amylase. And then it goes down your throat, or a more scientific word, esophagus, which is just a muscular tube that connects the mouth to the stomach. So it moves it down in a rhythmic muscle contraction called peristalsis. Mm-hmm. And that's also what happens inside your gut, right? Peristalsis moves food along. And then it enters your stomach. And the stomach is just like a hollow organ that stores and breaks down your food. And what happens in the stomach is you have something called stomach acid, and it's a really, really high acidic environment by hydrochloric acid. And it has enzymes in there like pepsin, and it digests your proteins, and it turns everything into like a semi-liquid mixture. We call it chyme. Mm-hmm. So then When there are signals from the stomach saying, okay, I need to move food along, it enters the upper part of your small intestine. So your small intestine it's a hollow tube as well, but it's kind of folded into each other with little fingers sticking up. And it is really, really long, and it has 3 different sections. You have the upper part, the middle part, and the lower part. And scientifically, they're called duodenum, jejunum, ileum. I hope I pronounced that right.
Say it with confidence.
Yes. And each of these sections have various roles in digesting fats, proteins, carbohydrates with the help of enzymes and bile from the pancreas and liver. And all through this intestine, like I said, you have these fingers, these villi that stick up and help to increase the surface of the intestine and also help you absorb the nutrients that you need in there and go into the bloodstream. Then it goes into the large intestine, and we all know it as the colon, where the function of the colon really is to absorb the water and electrolytes. And this is also where your solid stool is formed. So what happens in the colon? The colon this is where it houses your microbiome. This is where all these trillions of gut bacteria live, and they ferment undigested food that enters there, such as fibers and into short-chain fatty acids that nourish the gut lining. And then the last step after the colon is your rectum and anus, where waste is stored and ultimately eliminated. But that's not all. Surprise, surprise.
Exactly. There's more. It's already very complicated from the whole process with lots of different pieces involved. It makes it seem like we have such a simplistic view typically of what that looks like.
Yeah, that's so true. We also have supporting organs, such as, and they're really critical to this whole digestive system. We have the liver. The liver produces bile that then ultimately helps you digest and absorb fats. And it's with the help of the gallbladder, because the gallbladder stores the bile for this process to happen. The liver also processes nutrients that are absorbed from the small intestine. And like we all know, detoxification of our chemicals and other drugs are if you take a prescription drug, it's metabolized in the liver as well. And then you have the pancreas. And the pancreas is really important because it produces all your digestive enzymes and releases it into your digestive tract, right? And they're there to help you break down more fats, proteins, and carbohydrates. But another important thing that you don't know about the pancreas is that it also it helps you release bicarbonate, which is a fancy word for neutralizing your stomach acid. It's a chemical that neutralizes your stomach acid so that it doesn't eat through your stomach wall.
Yeah, so it's all of these structures working together in harmony that all need to be working together perfectly for you to be able to get the most from your food, to be able to power your body from the inside out. But one thing you haven't mentioned so far, this has been all the structures that food passes through, but there is something, and I guess you did mention it when you were talking about colon a little bit, but it houses something called the microbiome, which is very trendy, and it's been trendy for a while. It's very fascinating to individuals. Where does the microbiome and how does it fit into this?
Yeah, it's really trendy right now, and it has been for a while, like you mentioned. So the gut microbiome is a community of trillions. I mean, this is a large amount of microorganisms, and it's not just one type. There are bacteria, there are some viruses, fungus, yeast, and they primarily live in your colon. But some of them are also spread out through your small intestine. So, and they're not just passengers. They're actually active partners to help you stay healthy. So what they do is they digest your fibers and other nutrients. What they can do, they can produce B12 vitamins. They can produce vitamin K1 and K2. But they don't produce enough for you to survive. They produce enough for you to survive on it, but if you really want to thrive, you need to also get it from your food. They also support your immune defenses, and they even communicate with your brain through messengers in what's called the gut gut-brain axis.
Yeah, and we've talked quite a bit about the gut-brain axis, especially as we've been talking about the mind-body GLP-1 system, because really all of those hormones that we activate and influence with that system work along that gut-brain axis and help your brain to be able to communicate with your gut and vice versa, so you know like when you're hungry, when you're full, what to crave, what not to crave. And that communication is incredibly important, but that's not the only axis that there is. It's the most popular that you hear about, but there's more.
And the interesting part is there are at least 9 more axes that we know of, and there's probably many more that we have don't even
like
have
we're
any
always
clue
identifying
about.
new ones.
Correct.
Always new research. You were even just at a conference this year where they were talking about new frontiers of microbiome
Yes,
research.
and they said that there's a microbiome in the brain. So that's very, very interesting.
Yeah.
So we have the gut brain we just mentioned. We have gut heart axis. We have a gut lung axis, gut liver, gut skin, gut muscle, gut reproductive system, gut bone, gut kidney. And we could probably go on and on and on.
It's connected to everything.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, and I think that's going to really leads us into kind of this next question. Why is the gut, including the microbiome, so important?
That's really a really fascinating question in my mind, because a balanced, diverse microbiome is crucial and essential because it helps maintain the integrity of your intestinal lining. But it also supports a healthy inflammatory response throughout your whole body. In short, your gut microbiome acts like an internal ecosystem that keeps your whole body in balance.
But it's so much more than just the microbiome. Because like we were talking about, there's a whole complex system of organs that work together with this system. Like microbiome is just part of it. So what about the entire gut?
Yeah, so the gut is often called then the body's second brain. And that's for good reasons, because about 70% of your immune cells live in your gut. And the gut produces key neurotransmitters, and those are small chemicals that talk to the brain, such as serotonin. And we know that serotonin influences mood, sleep, and energy. And when the gut is healthy and balanced, you're more likely to experience steady energy, strong immunity, good digestion, emotional balance. You're just going to feel good, right?
Yeah, like you have that edge, you're on top of your game.
Yes, but then on the other hand, when the gut is out of balance, it can disrupt digestion, weaken your immune system, and it can contribute to issues such as feeling bloated, constipated, brain fog, and many other things that I'm sure you're all familiar with.
Yeah, I feel like the gut is one of those things that if something's wrong with it, it tends to be the answer to a lot of like something's not right with my body, something's going on, I don't know what's causing it. The gut tends to be one of those major solutions. If you can get that back into balance, a lot of times you see the rest of your body start going back into balance.
It really connects to every system in your body, right? And its health influences far more than just your stomach.
Yeah. And I mean, this kind of theme of getting out of balance is one that we talk about quite frequently, especially with activation, because we're always talking about your body was created, it knows how to have its own health, but then life happens. And the gut is no different. It also gets out of balance because life happens. So kind of go a little bit more into that. What causes the gut to get out of balance? What is that life that's happening?
Yes, you may have heard of dysbiosis. Dysbiosis is a fancy word for imbalance of the gut microbiome. That's it. That's a fancy word for that. And it can happen when there's an imbalance between the good and bad bacteria, and it can be triggered by several factors. Mm-hmm. And we've all gone through these factors. One of the factors is your diet is not really where you'd like it to be. You're eating too much processed food. You're eating too much refined carbs or too much sugar. Mm-hmm. And when you do that, you can starve beneficial bacteria and feed the non-beneficial bacteria. They love sugar. Antibiotics and some medications, we've heard about that. Antibiotics, they're really good for all the bad bacteria, but they're not selective and just going for the bad bacteria. They will go for the good bacteria as well. Mm-hmm. So, they'll wipe the good ones out and the microbial diversity is reduced.
Which is incredibly important. I think that's not focused on enough, that not only do you need microbes within your microbiome, but you need a diverse population of them to be able to truly have health.
Yes, you need that balance in there, right? And then how about stress? We're all going through stress. I know that if I go through stress, I may get a little bit of a stomach ache or something like that. Something worries me, So it hits you differently. Stress hormones can affect your gut motility and alter the balance of these bacteria that we have. And I know everybody's gone through this before.
Exactly. Very typical.
Right. And then lack of sleep. I can't stress how important sleep is for your microbiome to be healthy, because your microbiome actually follows the same rhythm, the same cyclic circadian rhythm that human bodies do. And if you disrupt this cycle, your microbiome is going to be disrupted as well. And then we have sedentary lifestyle. You've just eaten this big meal. You're going to sit on the couch. That's what you usually do. You're going to start feeling blah. You're going to start feeling, I don't want to do anything. No motivation, nothing. And that flows into your microbiome. So really what you should be doing, you should have regular movement because it helps stimulate your gut function and the diversity as well that we just mentioned, right? And then, of course, we all know about environmental toxins, exposure to pollutants. There are some smokers maybe around, and certain pathogens can also damage the gut lining.
So there's lots of things that can be very impactful negatively to the gut and the gut microbiome contained within. What can people expect to feel or experience if this is going on? What should they be looking for? Maybe some warning signs that something's all not going on right in their gut.
Yeah, that's a really good question, because your body sends clear warning signs when it's not doing too well, and especially if your gut's not doing too well. And we often don't pay attention to those warning signs because we think it's just normal. It's just normal of everyday living.
Or we're just used to powering through everything. Like
Exactly.
Just suck it up and move through life instead of understanding that our body's communicating with us.
Yeah. If you think you're eating healthy or you don't have a stressful life, but you still have these digestive issues like bloating, gas, constipation, diarrhea, or heartburn, but that is a warning sign that something is off, because that's not a normal, healthy behavior, right? You have fatigue and brain fog. You have lack of focus and low energy, and you don't get the nutrients you need for these activities to work properly. Your immunity, you may get you're constantly under stress. So, I get sick more often. That's a sign right there. You may break out. You may have some redness on your skin, or skin issues are happening, a rash here and there, and that's a warning sign that something's off in your body, right?
And I think that's something we tend to try to treat topically, and that just ends up being kind of symptomatic instead of looking at maybe what's going on at the root cause, which may be these gut issues.
Exactly. You may have food sensitivities because your microbiome is off. You don't have the correct balance of the good and bad to digest certain foods that never used to bother you before. And then one of the big ones, I think, is mood change. All of a sudden you feel angry, you feel for no reason you feel upset about things and irritable or antsy, and that's really because there's no gut brain signaling. There's a disruption in this happening. But over time, an unbalanced gut can do a lot of more damage.
Exactly. So it's something that we need to be looking at. We can't just ignore. We can't just push through. We need to be getting to the root cause of what's going on so we can truly impact both our short-term and, more importantly, our long-term health. Now, obviously, we're going to talk about products that help. But before we jump there, I want to talk about what are some other things, like lifestyle things, that you can do to bring your gut back into balance? Like, what are some steps you can start taking today?
Yeah, and I think we all want to get to that point, right? We all want to start. I'm going to start it now, and then you forget about it and you start a week later. Mm-hmm. But the good news is that your gut can heal and rebalance itself with the right support, and you can restore harmony in a few ways. And you probably already know a few, right?
But we always need the reminders of what we should actually be doing because we're not
Exactly.
doing the things we know we should do.
Exactly. So you want to eat for your microbes. If you think about it, you want to nourish your microbiome. So you want to eat a diet rich in whole plant-based foods like fruits and vegetables, legumes, and whole grains that provide the fibers that these beneficial bacteria need to thrive. So you also want to include fermented foods. If you can do it, it's not everybody's prerogative to eat fermented foods such as sauerkraut, kimchi, kombucha, kefir, and yogurt. But these products naturally contain probiotics that can help you replenish the good bacteria. You do want to think about all the processed foods that we have for convenience. It's convenient to grab a can. I'll have some SpaghettiOs tonight or something, which is really not
ideal.
my ideal food, but it happens. And we should minimize those things, and we should minimize simple sugar intakes as well, because these all promote the growth of harmful bacteria.
Exactly. Everything that can throw everything out of balance.
Exactly. You do want to manage your stress levels, and this is really easier said than done. We have work, you rush home to cook dinner, you got to take care of the kids, you got to take care of everyone else in the household, the pets and everything, and you're just stressed. So you want to try and minimize stress. And you can do this in a couple of ways. You can do mindfulness. There are plenty of apps out there now where you can plug in for 5 minutes and just calm everything down in your body. You can do yoga. There are deep breathing exercises you can do to calm, because you want to calm that gut-brain axis. And then you want to stay active, right? Regular exercise boosts your circulation. It supports your digestion. It moves things along the digestive tract, and it enhances, because of that, microbial diversity. Another important one is you want to make sure you get your sleep. Mm-hmm. It's so important to have. Everybody says 7 to 9 hours of sleep. You do need to listen to your body. I know people that can work at 6 hours of sleep and they work great. Everything works great. And then I know people that need 10 hours of sleep, which may be a little too much, but so that their body works ideally for them.
It goes back to just listening to your body. You know yourself, and you need to be listening to the signals that your body is giving you instead of just ignoring them.
Yeah, the important thing is to stay consistent. We all say, yes, I'll go to bed at 10 o'clock and during the week, but on the weekend I stay up till 12. But I've noticed that I get tired at 9:30, whether it's a Saturday or Sunday. I wake up at 6 in the morning, whether it's a Saturday or Sunday.
Your body gets in rhythms.
Exactly. So you want to stay in that rhythm, and you don't want to interrupt it too much, right? And then you can think about a probiotic or a prebiotic. The probiotics are the beneficial bacteria, and the prebiotics are the food for these bacteria. You can find them like in onions, bananas, garlic, actually. So you want to feed these good bacteria.
We'll have some more about that in just a second.
Yep. And you want to stay well hydrated, because water helps with digestion and it supports the mucosal lining of your intestine.
And I feel like none of us do a good job with staying hydrated. Mm-hmm. That's usually, if something's going on in the gut, that's usually my first, have you been drinking your water? Or honestly, many things in the body. Got a headache, got this.
Yes.
Are you drinking your water? Usually answer is no.
But just remember that rebalancing your gut takes time. You got there over a certain amount of time. You're not going to fix it overnight. So it takes time and consistency. And small changes of daily habits matter more than quick fixes, right? So the key is awareness. Listen to your body. Nurture your inner ecosystem. Do you like that?
Exactly.
Yeah. Through nutrition and lifestyle. And remember that a healthy gut is the gateway to a healthy life.
Okay, so there's some practical steps, honestly, common sense things that we know we should be doing. But we wouldn't be LifeVantage if we weren't talking about how do we activate a better gut. And we're not only going to talk about one product We're going to be talking about 2 because the other thing that makes LifeVantage so unique besides activation is the ability of our products to really work synergistically together. So instead of just talking about P84, which we will talk about for a second, we're going to talk about Healthy Edge, which is a combination of Protandim NRF2 and our P84. So let's talk about it. Where does Healthy Edge, this combo, fit into this?
Good question, right? So let's start with P84. So P84 is a system of 2 products that contain blends of probiotics, prebiotics, postbiotics, digestive enzymes, and fruits and veggies, right?
Yes.
And so what we've done with this, and this was so exciting when we did this, it's actually what I live for and do this. We did
Why she's the director of research.
We did in vitro studies first, and that's our first approach on testing a product. And we used 4 different cell lines because there are so many diverse cell lines in the gut, in the digestive system, that they all play a major role. So we had to use different cell lines to get to the activation that we wanted.
Exactly.
With P84.
Different cells make different peptides and proteins, and we needed to ensure that we chose the correct one so we'd actually be able to see what was happening with this amazing product.
Right. And we found that 14 key gut proteins and peptides that are involved in regulation or regulating, repairing, and restoring the gut, starting from the gut lining to the microbiome, were activated.
Which is incredible. And I think another important thing to mention is that we only tested 14. So we kind of hedged our bets. We wanted to end up with probably 10. That's how you do it in research. We want to ensure we had a good number. So we picked 14 that all were very feasible that we could activate them, but pretty certain we wouldn't activate every single one of them. And then it was incredible when we looked at the data and we saw not only did we activate a few, we activated every single peptide that we were looking at, which is fantastic and just really shows the comprehensive nature of this system. And I think something that's really important to realize, because we've been talking about a really complex system of organs all working together, the microbiome within it, all these factors that influence it and how it needs to be so perfectly tuned. It is so easy to feel overwhelmed by what you should put in your body. What are the right probiotics? What are the right prebiotics? Should I cycle them? Should I add this other product? Where do postbiotics fit in? What even are they? There's so much confusion around it. So people will end up with 10 product systems and they just don't even know what's actually helping them. The beauty of P84 is that it makes it nice and simple. It's easy. It's comprehensive. You're activating the things you need to activate to really be able to influence these key functions within your gut and your microbiome. And it's all in 2 drink mixes that you mix together, you take at the same time, and you just incorporate into your routine. Literally, I'll just be sitting in a meeting and I'm drinking my P84. So I don't need to be worried about what's going on in my gut because P84 is taking care of it.
Right. But you can also add in Protandim Nerve 2, right? Your Healthy Edge.
And that's where your Healthy Edge comes in.
Yes, and it's because you're boosting these synergies.
Yes.
Right? So Nerve 2 is all about protecting cells, and we know that healthy cells make healthy tissue, make healthy organs, make healthy systems, and healthy bodies. And systems includes the digestive system.
Yeah, all health all scales up. And I think so often we're so focused on just taking care of what are we feeling today? We're focused on the Band-Aid approach. How do I feel better today? We're not going to that root cause. And if you go to the root cause, it's the cell. The cell is making up everything. And if those cells are unhealthy, that's going to layer up. And so with Protandim Nerve 2, you are taking our wonderful activation and thorough activation approach, and you're helping your body make what it needs for health. In this case, it's antioxidants. And what are those antioxidants doing?
Yeah, so these antioxidants, they help you protect the cells, they're
neutralizing free radicals and all of the damage that they can cause within the body. And there's just so many things that we don't even realize that are happening on the inside. Once again, we have lots of chaos in our lives. Like Christina talked about it earlier. We're working, family, friends, like all the things in life. We have tons of things happening on the outside. It's chaos, and we try to control it the best we can, but we can't. Right. We don't need more chaos on the inside. And what this stack does is it's calming the chaos on the inside. It's taking care of all these complex systems from the cell up all the way through the system of the gut, so that you don't even need to worry about what's going on in the inside, because it's being taken care of. Your body is being supported right from the root. We're not just supplementing. We're not just filling a gap. We are empowering your body to make what it needs for health. And that's truly transformational.
Right. And it's also important to know that this is a subject that really impacts everyone, right? And their digestive health as well.
Exactly. This is an easy one to talk about with people because everyone has a gut. Everyone deals with issues from it, even if they don't know it's from their gut. And that's where some of that earlier education comes in. What are those things that people are feeling? Is it brain fog? Is it changes in mood? Is it digestion? All those things that we mentioned earlier. You can always rewind earlier and see what that list of everything was. I can bet that every single person you know is experiencing this and could benefit from this stack. Now, I say this stack because, once again, we don't want to just focus on only the gut. You need to pair it with that cellular health, because that is really where you're going to see those synergies and you're going to see those changes, and it really will impact the trajectory of their health, because all the decisions that you're making today are going to be impacting your life in the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years. And so it's time to start making the right decision. And they're not hard decisions. This is a little yellow pill that you're taking with like a greens drink mixed with all the right things. And it's not just a greens drink, it's an activator, but it's simple. You're just mixing it in with water. You're taking it with your little yellow pill, and then you've taken care of your health from the cell all the way to the gut. So with that, I just want to end by saying, you now kind of know what's going on with your gut. You know why it's important. You can kind of tell that story to people. Hey, things are going on in your body. Let's address what's going on at the root. And you have a solution. You have this stack of products that is proven. Protandim Nerve 2, you have reduction of oxidative stress by 40% in 30 days, increasing of glutathione, all of these incredible, amazing things at the cellular level. And then you have your P84, where you're activating these 14 key gut peptides that are influencing everything from regulation to repair to restoration of your gut microbiome. Really proven solutions that will lead to results that will improve people's quality of life. And so if you haven't tried these today, you should start by adding these products to your regimen. And if you already have, then you need to be sharing this with others, because anyone that you meet can really be able to just have a wonderful impact from these products. So with that, thank you, Christina, for giving us a lot of information. And guys, take it all in, but then go ahead and share with everyone you know, and make sure that they know the difference that Healthy Edge can make within their health and with their lives. So thanks, everyone, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks for listening to today's episode of the Activation Nation podcast. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe for future episodes and updates, and share with a friend or prospect that you think could benefit from today's conversation. Check the episode description for any links or disclaimers, and we'll see you next week for another episode. And now, the legal stuff. The statements made have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Individual results may vary.